Welcome, everybody, to the Girly True Sports Network. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. Today, we are going to look back at last night's NBA Finals Game 3, and we're going to preview Game 4. This will be a game the Oklahoma City Thunder will have to win. Nobody gave the Indiana Pacers a chance coming into this series, and they were looking at, if you're betting on them, they were a plus 580 underdog to win this series. That's now down to plus 190. And when we look at Game 4 and the odds on BetMGM, your top sports book for betting on the NBA Finals, the Pacers are still almost a 2-1 underdog at home after a 116-107 victory last night in a game that had a ton of energy. And this is the thing about these NBA Finals so far. Everybody said this was a bad matchup. The Pacers didn't deserve to be here. Those people were wrong. They've been proven wrong. Everybody said this was a bad matchup for the NBA and TV ratings. We'll see about that, because right now, the state of Indiana, you hear the old saying in 49 other states, it's just basketball. This is Indiana. This is the state that gave you Oscar Robertson, that gave you Larry Bird, that gave you the 1954 Milan Miracle, which led to the movie Hoosiers, which gave you Bob Knight 3 national championships, Larry Bird taking an underdog Indiana State team to the championship game, Rick Mount taking the Purdue Boilermakers to a championship game in 1969. So this is Indiana. And when you realistically looked at this game and the matchups, a lot of people thought there's no way the Pacers could win this series. Now, if you watch my series preview, I told you, if they win Game 1, they're going to win the series. The thing we've seen about this is the Indiana Pacers impose their will. And to me, last night, guys, what I saw was the Oklahoma City Thunder were the better team throughout the first quarter, headed into the second quarter. They had a 9-point lead at the end of the first quarter, right around there at least. And then T.J. McConnell happened. And T.J. McConnell brought energy last night. He's a guy that doesn't look like much, but he certainly plays like a lot bigger than what he is. I mean, T.J. McConnell stole the show in the second quarter with Benedict Mathurin, who we'll get to in a minute. The urgency and the energy of the Pacers wasn't there in the first half or in the first quarter, but then TJ McConnell came in the game. He stole 3 inbound passes off Indiana made baskets. Those had a demoralizing effect on the Thunder, and they translated into additional points for the Pacers. You know, in one sequence, he drove to the basket, passed to Toppin for a layup, stole the inbounds. Another such steal led to a Pascal Siakam shot. It missed. McConnell somehow grabs the rebound, dishes for an assist. He played 15 minutes. He had 5 steals, 3 in the second quarter alone, and 10 points and 5 assists. The crowd was energized from there. And then you had Benedict Mathurin. This is a man who did not play last year in the Pacers' run to the Eastern Conference Final because of an injury. And Benedict Mathurin last night, to put this in context, was the best Canadian player on the court. He was better than SGA last night. He had 27 points in 22 minutes. He shot 9 of 12 from the field, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. And he was better than SGA last night, you know. And once Carlisle put him in, he stayed with him. And Rick Carlisle's coaching in a series has been the difference in why Indiana has a 2-1 lead right now. I mean, if you look at SGA last night, you know, he had a lot of issues with the way he was defended. You know, you kept fresh guys like Nembhard coming at him. And we saw this a little bit in the series before against the New York Knicks, where Jalen Brunson was just abusing the Pacers initially at the start of that series. But as the series progressed, he started to labor so much more because you get so many different looks from Rick Carlisle's defense. If you take a great player and you run the same defense at him all the time, you're never going to stop him. Now, you know, Andrew Nembhard, who was the first line of defense, but then you had other guys come in on him like Shepard. I think the impressive thing was when he'd come off the pick and roll, how high they would come get him. The other thing was you would saw guys, I mean, like Nembhard, you know, press him from the outset. You'd get close to the end of the shot clock, and then all of a sudden there'd be a double team to come to keep him from shooting the ball. Now, he was held to a very pedestrian, for him, 24 points. There was no 30 in this game. And Ben Shepard, Andrew Nembhard did an outstanding job defending him. Now, can SGA turn this around? I mean, the thing is, the Pacers just keep coming at you. And I know the Pacers are 5-6 point favorites or underdogs once again at home, which seems like an absolutely ridiculous thing to do. I mean, to me, the easy bet here is to take the Pacers into 6 points. But with that being said, there's something about this team that makes it almost feel like it is meant to be. I hate to say a team of destiny because we always hear people that will say stuff like that. And it looks like that. And the thing is this, we've seen upsets in before, whether it was Super Bowl III or the 1990 World Series, where you look back 15 years later and you think, man, was that really that much of an upset? And if you look at a guy like Benedict Mathurin, if he continues to progress, this guy could be a superstar in the NBA. You've got Tyrese Halliburton, who after the first two games, if you're not a Pacers fan, you had some pause for concern because really he disappeared in the first half of both games, and it really hurt the Pacers team. But last night, just like he bounced back against the New York Knicks after a poor game 3 or a poor game 5, Tyrese Halliburton played his butt off both halves. And I mean, he admitted before the games that he needed a better start. And one reason the Pacers led by 4 at halftime was shooting 55% for Halliburton. He had 12 points with 7 assists in the first half. He brought bounce. He attacked the rim at times. He controlled the pace of the game. And he drew the double team, which opened up the floor for his teammates and helped them to make open shots. And the other thing about it, which we haven't seen a lot in these playoffs, was you also had Halliburton and TJ McConnell. Since McConnell was playing well, Carlisle left him in the game a little bit more than maybe he would have. And in the fourth quarter, we saw both of those guys on the floor at the same time. And the spacing on the floor was great. The way he attacked the basket was great. And the difference when Halliburton shoots in the first half is OKC is a great defensive team. And if they're not afraid that you're going to shoot the ball, they're going to defend the passing lanes hard. But when you start to get Halliburton making some shots the way he started to do at the end of the first quarter, into early second quarter, then you've got to defend him. That opens up everybody he's throwing the ball to. He can get it to Mathurin for a 3, and the offense just flows a lot better. All told, last night, Tyrese Halliburton had 22 points. He was 4 of 8 from three-point range. He had 11 assists, 9 rebounds, a near triple-double, all made possible by a first half where he was determined to be more impactful. Now, when we look at this game, though, the Oklahoma City Thunder have been in this position before. But by position, it means they have to win 3 out of 4 to win the series. They were in that against the Denver Nuggets early on in the second round of the playoffs. But this is a little bit different. There's a lot of pressure on this team. They've won 68 games this season, and they're expected to win this NBA Finals. And right now, they're going to be pushed. They're going to have to go to Indiana. They're going to have to win on the road to be able to even a series up to get it back home with a chance to take the lead. The difference between Indiana and Denver is this. Indiana is much better. Indiana is much more physical. Indiana is much deeper. Denver had injury issues. OKC, ran away with that series at the end, but there's no injury issues with the Pacers, knock on wood, right now, except for Walker, who may be coming back pretty soon, but he's a guy that doesn't really play a whole lot anyways. So the question is, can a guy like Chet Holmgren perform for the entire game? This is a team in OKC that is very good, and they played very well last night in the first quarter. The thing about the Indiana Pacers is if you've got an 8 or 9 point lead in the first half, it really means nothing. Unless you can put them down 15 or 20 quick, the Pacers are going to hang in. If the Pacers hang in, Tyrese Halliburton is the best clutch player in the NBA right now. And there are so many guys on this Pacer roster that can hurt you. But the thing that really gets me is how hard this Pacer teams play, how hard they play together. And in the end, right now, I don't think this is like when Denver won game 1 and then won game 3, and we're up 2-1 with a chance to go up 3-1. That was a Denver team that I think was hoping to win. The Indiana Pacers expect to win this game tomorrow night, and I think they will. Like I said, the safe bet is to take the Pacers into 6 points. If you want to get a little bit ballsier, 2-1 odds right now sound pretty good to me for this Pacers team. If Tyrese Halliburton comes out and establishes himself early, you also got Miles Turner, who was absolutely atrocious for 3 quarters last night. But in the fourth quarter, he stepped up, banged in a shot or two, played great on defense. He was a great rim protector at the end of the game. I would expect Miles Turner to actually play pretty well in this game because Miles is not consistently on his game when it comes to shooting the ball and play offense, but he will on defense. TJ McConnell is going to give you energy. I don't know if he can duplicate what he did, but you got guys on this roster like Shepard and them or Toppin who can go off at any time. This Pacers team is deep, and it seems like every night there's a different hero. And if Tyrese Halliburton continues to step up and play hard in the first half of games, the Indiana Pacers are going to win Game 4. And the Indiana Pacers are going to win the NBA Finals, which would be very good for me because I bet $100 on them at plus 580 right when this series first started. All right, guys, make sure you check out BetMGM if you want to hit the top sportsbook for betting on the NBA Finals. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Make sure you go to X, follow me at Grilling Truth. But for now, guys, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grilling Truth, where the legends speak.